It was a grueling night at the hospital, the kind where every second felt like a battle against time. I was just finishing my shift as a resident surgeon, scrubbing out after a long surgery, when my phone buzzed in my pocket. The message was from Jacqueline, my stepsister, and it was as audacious as I had expected. "Guess what I found in your dad's office," she wrote. "Your precious college fund. Thanks for the early inheritance, sis. Time to live my best life." Most people would have felt a surge of panic or rage reading those words, their hearts racing at the thought of their future being stolen. But not me. My stomach didn't churn, my hands didn't tremble. Instead, a strange calm washed over me, like the quiet before a storm. Jacqueline had just walked right into the trap I'd been meticulously crafting for months. Let me introduce myself. My name is Kelly Clarkson, a 28-year-old resident surgeon with a knack for staying composed under pressure. Years of navigating the high-stakes world of medicine had taught me that sometimes the best way to outmaneuver someone isn't through anger or confrontation. It's by staying calm and thinking several steps ahead. Jacqueline thought she'd won, but she had no idea what was coming. 23 minutes later, as I was slipping out of my scrubs and into my street clothes, my phone rang. It was my father, his voice trembling with a mix of anger and despair. "Kelly, you won't believe what your sister did," he said, his words heavy with emotion. "She found some documents and—" "I'm so sorry, Kelly. She took everything." "How much?" I asked, my tone steady despite the gravity of his words. I could hear the exhaustion in his pause before he answered, $700,000. "Your entire college fund. She transferred it all to her account this morning." His voice broke as he continued, "Your mother worked so hard to build that fund for you, saving every penny since you were a baby." I could picture him, sitting in his dimly lit office, his shoulders slumped as he recalled my late mother's tireless efforts. She had been the cornerstone of our family, a financial advisor who poured her heart into securing my future. Every month, she'd meticulously set aside money, her love for me woven into every dollar. "It's okay, Dad," I said, my calm surprising him. "Actually, can you come over tonight? There's something important I need to discuss." Just then, another text from Jacqueline lit up my screen. "Shopping spree time. Always knew being your stepsister would pay off. You were always so stuck up about your college fund, never sharing a dime. Well, guess what? It's all mine now." I couldn't help but smile. She thought she'd outsmarted me, but the truth was far more intricate. The real college fund was safe, tucked away in a private offshore account my mother had set up before her passing. Jacqueline had no idea it existed. The account she'd stolen from was a decoy, a carefully constructed illusion designed to ensnare her. The idea for this trap was born 7 months earlier, when I stumbled across something unsettling while sorting through my stepmother Joyce's old financial records. Joyce, Jacqueline's mother, had always lived a life of excess, designer clothes, lavish dinners, exotic vacations that seemed to outstrip her income as a real estate agent. What I found confirmed my suspicions. She'd been quietly funneling money through her business, engaging in transactions that skirted the edges of legality. It wasn't a massive operation, but it was enough to fund her and Jacqueline's extravagant lifestyle. I kept this discovery to myself, filing it away like a chess piece held in reserve. Not long after, I caught Jacqueline snooping through my father's office late one night. Her movements were furtive, her eyes darting to the files on his desk. It didn't take long to figure out her target, my college fund. Jacqueline had always resented it, complaining bitterly about how I had a free ride to medical school while she toiled away in retail. Her envy was palpable, and it gave me an idea. I began crafting a trap. I created a folder filled with fake bank statements, showing large deposits into a supposed college fund account. I even added a sticky note with fabricated account details, leaving it just conspicuous enough to catch her eye. Everything looked authentic, but it was all a facade. The account was real, but the money in it was tied to Joyce's questionable transactions, meticulously tracked by the bank I'd alerted months ago. That evening, my father arrived at my apartment, his face etched with worry. "Kelly," he said, sinking into a chair, "I've already called the police, but Jacqueline's claiming you gave her permission to take the money." Joyce is backing her up, saying you once told them you wanted to share it. I gestured for him to sit, then opened my laptop. Dad, there's something you need to see. But first, has Jacqueline spent any of the money yet? He nodded, his expression grim. She's already moved most of it to other accounts. She's buying expensive things, clothes, jewelry. Joyce says we should let it go since you've already finished medical school. I turned the laptop toward him, revealing the real bank statements. That money Jacqueline took? It's not my college fund. Mom was smarter than that. His eyes widened as he read the documents, which showed my true college fund safe and untouched in an offshore account. Then what did Jacqueline take? He asked, bewildered. Just then, my phone buzzed with another message from Jacqueline. Just bought my dream car and put money down on a new condo. You should be happy for me. I deserve this way more than you. I showed Dad the message, then opened another file on my laptop. Remember how Joyce always seemed to have extra money, even when her business was struggling? I asked. Last spring, while organizing your files, I noticed strange transactions in one of your old accounts. The account Jacqueline stole from wasn't my college fund. It was filled with money Joyce had been hiding through her real estate deals. Dad's face paled. What do you mean? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. I said, glancing at my watch, in about 23 minutes, Jacqueline's going to get a call from the bank's fraud department. I explained how I'd flagged the account months ago, ensuring every transaction was monitored. Every dollar she spent, every purchase she made, was being tracked, building a trail of evidence that pointed directly to Joyce's illicit activities. You set this up? Dad asked, stunned. No, I replied calmly. Joyce set it up years ago when she started hiding money. I just made sure Jacqueline found it. I left the fake college fund folder where she'd see it, knowing she'd take the bait. Right on cue, my phone buzzed. It was Jacqueline, calling in a panic. I didn't answer, I already knew what it was about. The bank had flagged her transactions, and the FBI was now involved, investigating Joyce's money laundering scheme. Dad stood, visibly shaken. I should go home, he said. I need to stop her before. Before what? I asked gently. He paused, then admitted, before she gets into more trouble. She already is, I said. Jacqueline didn't just steal from me. She bragged about it, thinking she'd won. Now she's going to learn what happens when you take what doesn't belong to you. Dad looked at me, his eyes reflecting a mix of pride and sorrow. He was beginning to see me not just as his daughter, but as someone who'd inherited my mother's strategic mind. As he left, my phone buzzed again. Another text from Jacqueline. Hey, something weird is happening with the bank. Call me ASAP. I ignored it. The trap had been sprung, and justice was taking its course. The next morning at 7 a.m., my doorbell rang. I opened the door to find Jacqueline, disheveled and frantic, her usual polished appearance replaced by smeared mascara and tangled hair. What did you do? She shouted, pushing past me into my apartment. I stepped aside, letting her storm in. The bank froze everything, she ranted, pacing my living room. They're talking about illegal money and an investigation. I sat calmly on the couch, watching her unravel. I didn't do anything, Jacqueline, I said. You're the one who took money from an account that didn't belong to you. That was your college fund, she snapped. I only took what you owed me. You always had everything while I worked for scraps. I leaned forward, my voice steady. Do you really think my mother, a financial advisor, would leave my college fund so easy to steal? The money you took wasn't mine, it came from your mother's hidden account, the one she used for her shady real estate deals. Jacqueline froze, her face draining of color. What are you talking about? She whispered. I opened a folder on the coffee table, revealing documents detailing Joyce's unexplained deposits, fake buyers, and cash flows. Your shopping sprees, the money that appeared out of nowhere, it's all here, I said. Now, because you got greedy, the bank's investigating everything. You set me up, she whispered, her voice trembling. No, I replied. You set yourself up. I just let you be who you are, someone who takes what isn't hers. Her phone buzzed, and she answered, putting it on speaker. Joyce's voice, laced with panic, came through. The FBI is here, Jacqueline. What did you do with that money? They're asking about the transfers. In the background, I heard voices mentioning warrant and financial records. Mom, Jacqueline's voice cracked. The money, it wasn't Kelly's college fund. It was yours, from your business account. There was a long silence before Joyce, cold and angry, said, "Get home now." Jacqueline ended the call, her eyes a mix of fear and fury. "You've ruined everything," she said. "No," I replied calmly. "You and Joyce did that yourselves. For years, you lied and used Dad like he didn't matter. Did you really think there wouldn't be consequences?" She grabbed her designer bag, likely bought with stolen money, and stormed out, hissing, "This isn't over." "Actually, it is," I called after her. "The FBI doesn't ignore financial crimes. You might want to call your lawyer, sis." Later that day, I called Dad. He answered immediately, his voice heavy. "The FBI is here," he said. "They're going through Joyce's office." When he asked how long I'd known about her money laundering, I admitted 7 months. "I found the first signs when I helped you clean out the home office. But I needed solid proof, and Jacqueline gave it to us when she stole from the account and started spending." Dad was quiet, then asked, "Why didn't you tell me sooner? Would you have believed me?" I replied, "Or would Joyce have convinced you I was just being dramatic?" His silence was answer enough. All day, Jacqueline's messages flooded my phone. "They're taking Mom's computer. Dad won't stop crying. The FBI says we might be in serious trouble." I ignored them, focusing on my hospital rounds. I wasn't going to let her guilt disrupt my life. That evening, Mr. Tyler, my mother's lawyer, called. "Everything went as planned," he said. "The bank reported the suspicious transfers, triggering the FBI's investigation. They've uncovered a massive money laundering network tied to Joyce's real estate company. And the real college fund? Safe and untouched, just as your mother intended." I thanked him, feeling a weight lift from my shoulders. My mother's words echoed in my mind, "Keep your cards close and your enemies closer." She'd known I'd need her protection one day. That night, Dad returned to my apartment, looking older but clear-eyed, as if the fog of years had lifted. "Joyce has been arrested," he said, sitting heavily on the couch. "They're charging her with money laundering, tax fraud, and wire fraud. Jacqueline's being questioned, too." He shook his head, stunned. All these years, I had no idea what was happening right in front of me. I made us tea, a quiet ritual that grounded us. "You saw what you wanted to see, Dad," I said gently. "They counted on that. But Mom saw through them. That's why she set up the college fund the way she did. She knew something like this might happen." Dad looked at me, really seeing me. "Your mother would have seen through them instantly," he said softly. "She did," I replied. "She planned ahead." He apologized, his voice thick with regret. "I should have protected you better. I should never have let them treat you like you didn't belong in your own home." I reached for his hand, feeling the gap between us begin to close. "It's okay, Dad," I said. "Mom taught me how to protect myself." 7 months later, I sat in a courtroom, watching Joyce and Jacqueline face the consequences of their actions. The FBI's investigation had unraveled years of deceit, tax evasion, wire fraud, and sham property sales that funded their lavish lifestyle. Joyce, stripped of her usual glamour, stood before the judge in plain clothes, her face a mask of forced composure. The judge's voice was firm. The defendant, Joyce Meyer, is sentenced to 6 years in federal prison. All assets tied to her crimes will be seized. Jacqueline, charged as an accessory for spending and transferring the illicit funds, received 4 years of probation and a hefty fine. Her dreams of a luxurious life were shattered, replaced by the reality of her own making. As they were let out, Jacqueline's eyes met mine. The defiance was gone, replaced by a flicker of realization. She'd brought this on herself. Outside, Dad waited, looking both weary and relieved. "It's finally over," he said. "Almost," I replied. At a small cafe, where Mom and I once shared brunches, I handed him an envelope from Mr. Tyler. Inside was a letter from Mom, written before her death. "My dearest Kelly," it began, "if you're reading this, someone has tried to take what's yours. I've watched Joyce closely since your father started dating her. Trust your instincts, they're like mine. Protect your future, not just with money, but with wisdom. Let them burn themselves out. And take care of your father. All my love, Mom." Dad's eyes welled as he read, his voice breaking. She knew all along. Why didn't she tell me? Would you have believed her? I asked gently. He nodded slowly, the truth sinking in. She protected you, I said, by teaching me to protect myself. Later, I visited Mom's grave, placing fresh flowers by her headstone. You were right about everything, I whispered. Sometimes the smartest way to deal with people like Joyce and Jacqueline is to let them think they've won. They destroy themselves. My phone buzzed, another message from Jacqueline, sent from the prison where Joyce was held. I hope you're happy. We've lost everything. I didn't respond. This was never about happiness or revenge. It was about justice, about letting their choices catch up with them. Dad and I now have weekly dinners, rebuilding our bond without Joyce's lies in the way. Jacqueline, I heard, is back in retail, living modestly and learning the hard way that shortcuts come at a cost. My mother's real college fund remains safe, growing quietly, a testament to her foresight. But her true legacy is the wisdom she instilled in me, to stay patient, stay sharp, and let the truth prevail. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about being ready, staying 3 steps ahead, and letting justice do the rest. Please feel free to comment below if you liked this. Remember to like and subscribers for more.